Hello, everyone watching on YouTube and listening on Spotify. It's another episode of NRG Insights. And for those that don't know, this is a podcast based around the financial services world where we speak to influential members of the financial services community, whether that be from broking, lending, or ancillary products. So today, I am very honoured to have Andrew from Ark & Co join me. Thanks for joining me, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marcus. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, what was your, well, it has been, yeah, but it's good to be on. But what was your introduction? Not esteemed, I can't remember what word you said.
Influential.
Well, I don't know how influential I've been, but yeah.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out in the next half an hour. So just so people, if people don't know you, I'm sure they do. But for people that don't know you and don't know Ark & Co, talk to me about your kind of financial services journey to get to where you are now.
Oh, it's been a long one. I actually set up Ark & Co in '07, but my career started before that. So I came out of university, which wasn't a very good one. I think it was ranked 118th out of 120th in the league table. But it was in Cardiff, and Cardiff was a good for a night out. So I signed up and went down there and wanted to play a bit of rugby. But because of that, I didn't. I wanted to go onto these graduate trainee schemes. I didn't get on any, which is a good thing, really. It was a blessing. So came down to London from Cardiff and trying to find a job, sleeping on my mate's sofa. He was a professional rugby player at the time. So rugby just became professional. He was looking to buy a property. So he was asking me to look at mortgages. And at the same time, I was interviewing for a company for what was a mortgage brokerage.
Yeah.
And so I sourced his mortgage for him. And the deal originally was with Bank of Scotland, and pre-regulation, they would just pay introducers a fee. So I thought, well, brilliant,
Made money out of this.
I think I got paid 1,500 quid for introducing my mate to Bank of Scotland. And I thought, well, why do I need to sit on a graduate trainee scheme? I'll just do this. It's a long journey. It started within mortgages. As I said, pre-regulation. So 2002 to 2005 was very much just about the resi mortgage market.
Yeah.
It then led into kind of developers. So a lot of my network, I kind of managed to network through that professional rugby player base. And it's all referral, change and mentality.
Rugby and financial services are very intertwined, aren't they? I think as soon as you get a pro rugby player leading, I'll just jump in the sea.
It's all trust and relationship. So, it's kind of, they're busy training and stuff like that. And then when they bought a place, they're like, well, how did you do that? And then they just say, go and speak to this person. So, it's good old school way of business.
Yeah.
And I built up a good network in that community, and that served me well. But they started to buy off new build developers, which led me into development finance, because then I could meet the developers and help them. The issue at that time was the Irish banks were lending like over 100%, so it was hard to crack into that market. But then, as with a bit of growth, I wanted to set up Ark & Co because I wanted a brand name, really, rather than just myself, Andrew Robinson. I wanted to build a company and a value. But I didn't realise 2008 or 7, 8, 9 would be as bad as they were. And I was 28 years old, a bit naive, thought nothing could touch me.
I'm nailing this. What can go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. I had £150,000 in the bank account and didn't think anything could go wrong. I think I ended up spending that in about 6 months of starting a business. So suddenly got a quick lesson of what business was really about.
Yeah.
My father-in-law actually said, do you think this is the right thing to do? And I said, yeah. I said, well, my clients are just buying more property in the recession. Obviously, nothing happened. It's completely wrong.
Yeah. It's a buyer's market. Oh, no one's got any money.
Exactly. No one was lending. It was a brilliant market.
It's interesting, though, cutting your teeth as a new business, though, in that time. Like, loads of great brokerages and loads of great businesses came out of that, like, turmoil, because it's...
Well, the whole thing was the market changed, right? So it wasn't just a new business; nothing existed again. So it's hard to people think, what do you mean it didn't exist? Well, most people were borrowing off either the Irish banks or the UK retail banks, right? And all of them, or the Irish banks blew up, and then the English or British UK retail banks weren't really lending.
Yeah.
So the market completely evolved. Right, so that allowed businesses like mine to enter the market and grow.
Yeah.
So it's pure by luck, really, from where the market.
Well, you say that, but there's also some people that would never have set out then or wrapped it in really early. Because I know there was a period of
Maybe
time,
I
wasn't
can
there, where
never
you
plan.
weren't getting paid and stuff. There's a long, there's a long time. I mean, talk to us about that bit. Talk to us about that bit at the beginning, actually, like the non-paying bit. Because I think people will look at how successful Afterco is now and just think, God, like you said, then I got lucky with the market and stuff. But actually, you went through loads of shit to begin with, didn't you? It's a tough time.
Well, no, it's not playing the bandwagon. Then obviously it was a very tough time. And as I said, I started at end of '07, having saved up £150,000 over a 5-year period. And that was, I took an office in Dover Street, which is a very expensive part to do it, even though it had no windows and I was in the basement. But it was
Nice
the
and
right
bare.
place to walk. Yeah, it was nice place to walk around. But what you've got to realise is business isn't about you; it's about the business. And I never had an issue with that. So, everything else got paid before I got paid.
Yeah.
Be it employees, be it rent or whatever it would be. So I knew what I was kind of getting into, and I was happy. So didn't set up my business and say, look, I haven't earned £5,000 this month. This is not working.
Yeah.
It was, I will be paid when I'm paid.
Yeah.
When I've got enough money.
People have to be comfortable with that, don't they? At the beginning, you have to be comfortable with the fact that it's not success when you start.
It never will be, and as long as you believe in that, right, and you're willing to take that risk, and also there will be times when you're up against it, right, and you can't. Your family don't believe in you, right? and your wife tells you it's not working.
Yeah.
And go and get. Who actually killed me for saying this, but she said I need to go and get a job down the slug and lettuce, and she still denies it.
You still trust it now. I always believed in you. Everyone believes that you once you made it.
Yeah, it's very hard to keep a focus when those most people are supported, but when you're really up against it, it can start to turn a bit.
Yeah.
I definitely reached those points, and I definitely had those comments made, and you've got to have that resilience and strength to keep kicking on, because I was so far in, right? So what was the point of going a bit further?
Yeah.
In my mind,
I feel like that. In those really tough years, I just think like I'm pot committed, financially and labour wise. Like, what else am I going to do? You know what I mean? You have to just keep going.
I spent my 150k. I had credit cards up to 80k. I borrowed 80 grand off my father-in-law and remortgaged my apartment up to the max. So when you're that much in, what's the point of pushing it a little bit forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's coming for the long haul.
In my mind, the worst thing you can do is go and work behind the bar at the slug and lettuce, because you got all that debt.
Oh, you'd never pay that off.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually became more risk than the other people. So my creditors or whatever they're called.
So you can obviously tell your anecdotes, but there was a time, literally, wasn't there, when it was you were hours away from not being able to get people in the office and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was. Look, so there is a story that people might hear about it, but we got locked out of the office. So we had a serviced office on Dover Street, and the management company. I was probably 6 months behind by this time or something, and it had enough of my storytelling with them, so they just turned the keypads off. And I kind of knew it happened, so I went there about 7:30 in the morning just to test my keypad, and I couldn't get in. So
They have done it. They've done what they said they were going to do.
Yeah, I'm in trouble now. So I went and sat on a little bench in Berkeley Square, considered my thoughts, and called up my mate, which is now my business partner, Ed Horn-Smith, and I said, look, I need £5,000, and I said, if you debate over it or say no, the business is gone. So if you could lend me £5,000 now, I can transfer it to the landlord, and we can open the doors, and no one will ever know any more. And he did. They didn't even ask any questions. So that's all.
Best £5,000 he ever spent.
It wasn't about the shares or anything like that. It was more about trust.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we managed to pay the landlord in time. And 9 a.m. the keypads were working, and people walked in not knowing just what I've been through, and I had to sit there at the desk, kind of
Nailing this
acting
thing.
like normal.
It is funny though, because I love these stories because people just don't know what goes on in the background. Funnily enough, I was retelling that story to my team the other day, and they couldn't fathom like not getting paid. Do you know what I mean? When I just said, oh, because obviously Andrew went for a long period of not being able to pay because you go through the business, and we've been through that here. And they were like, "What do you mean? What do you mean you don't get paid?" I'm like, "Well, you run up debt on the understanding that you believe in yourself." And you believe that the business is going to work. Like, and sometimes it doesn't for people, or sometimes they just run out of energy. But it's difficult for someone who's working for someone to even fathom the fact that you believe in it so much that you might not get paid sometimes, and it might, you think it's going to work, but you're still, it's like it's only you that believes at the beginning, right? No one else is running into it when you're racking up debt.
Look, your family and friends are always there to kind of support you,
Yeah.
right? But they don't know truly what's happening internally, right? So if you're lying to them or you're lying to yourself, that's where you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? So I had a feel for what business could be done, and I had the judgment of the risk, whether it would happen or it wouldn't happen. And they don't know that because they're not in the business.
Yeah.
So they might be. They might be either supportive or it might push too far, like I did, and then they start saying you need to consider something else.
Yeah. And also, your family and friends are trying to protect you as well, right? Because it's only you that knows how successful it's going to be, like internally. But they also want to protect you from, because it just seems like a made-up story to someone else. No, it's going to be a success. It's a difficult one to
Yeah, so I tell you what was quite funny is one of the first deals we ever did in the commercial market was it was Lloyd's Bank, strangely enough, and even though it was those early days. And I think the commission was about £2,500, and myself and Ed were so relieved after not doing anything for 2 years. I think we went and spent it all in one night out.
Good to see you learn your lesson.
But I think like you should celebrate once you go through something like that. You should celebrate those.
And how resilient it makes you as a business as well, right? The fact that you've done it, like you could lose everything tomorrow and you know how to make money again. It gives you that.
The other thing you got to consider is who's first. People come and work for you because they trust you, right? So I could have easily paid myself before them,
Yeah.
and then they didn't get paid, right? And that quite often happens.
Yeah.
That was never going to happen. It never has happened. They continue to got paid. Not even though that financial difficulty we had, no one ever got paid late.
Amazing.
And I never missed any mortgage payments or credit card payments or whatever it would be.
Yeah.
Everyone got paid before me, and I think that's how you manage to keep it together. And okay, if you don't get the income in after a period of time, unfortunately everything goes, and that's where a bit of luck comes into it.
Yeah.
You get out what you put in.
Yeah.
So you create your own luck in that way. But we did get a few breaks.
It is funny though, Andrew, and loads of people say this, that all the successful people I have on here talk about how lucky they were, but it's through the hard work that you get luck, right? Because you could have knocked on the head and gone to work and slug and lettuce. That would have been the least lucky choice you've made in your life. But you could have got to work for someone.
Yeah, I've probably been the best bar manager.
Yeah, you could be like general manager or now. You would have really nailed it. But genuinely, you really have to back yourself in business, don't you? Like you have to believe that it's going in the right direction, even when you're not getting paid.
But what we didn't have any control over, we have control about how much we were working, how much we knew, how we could generate, do cases. What we didn't have any control about was how the market was evolving.
Yeah.
Right, and that came in our favour.
Right.
So when I remember when it really started to shift, is Titlestone launched, which was Robert Orr's a lender, which now is Paragon.
Yeah.
Paragon bought Titlestone, and I remember going in to see Robert when he just launched with Ed. And me and Ed came out of the meeting and said, look, the market's completely changing. We better get on the phone to all our clients and tell them what's happening.
Yeah.
And it was the first stretch senior development loan.
Oh, okay.
And he got backing from Oaktree or somewhere like wherever it was. But it was the first start of this kind of private credit line coming in.
Yeah, because there wasn't really commercial finance art or like an industry, was there, as such, that was like outside
People went direct. So people will have their relationship at HSBC, NatWest, Lloyd's, Close Brothers. They were the only constant for the whole financial crisis. And Robert I think Robert was close brothers, and he left because he was a disruptor,
Right.
and he saw where the market could go, and that's what opened up. And the clients then saw that what else they could get quite quickly after private credit evolved, and you got Omni Capital launched funded by the Candy Brothers, and Colin Sanders built that up. And
Yeah.
I remember that was more on the bridging side, but as soon as Omni launched, I think we did 150 million with them in the first year.
Wow.
Right? And so you could see the explosion of what happened, and it happened rapidly.
Yeah.
So
when was that then? What timeline wise? When did that start to take a turn and actually start moving in your favour?
Titlestone was end of 11, 12
Right.
time from it. So you had that happening, and one thing we haven't spoken about was the marine and aviation side.
Yeah.
And how we fell into that really, and that was part of the financial crisis again, because clients had those assets and we had to refinance them. And around the same timeline, deals started to happen. So we did our first aircraft deal with Deutsche, and it was about a 38 million loan.
Wow.
And we were still at four or five person band on Dover Street and just done a 38 million loan. So we were laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah. It's easier. Like, when you say you fell into it, like it's a necessity, right? You need to find income streams as well in a market that wasn't particularly flush.
What it was, a lot of our clients were international residential owners at that time, not
Yeah.
so much commercial and development. And so you had a lot of international clients which would own real estate or residential properties in London and the south of France.
And boats and planes.
That was it, and they all owned those. And you got to meet some amazing people, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I bet. That's quite an interesting market.
Yeah, but it led us into different ways, and they were. You asked about key deals, and most people know Arc&Co for property and specifically development and commercial.
Yeah.
But one of the key deals, if you do a 38 million loan on an aircraft, it was just elevated, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Because they've got mates, right? They've got it's a
it's referral business. At a similar time, around that 2012 to 14 time, Ed nailed a big commercial deal with AIG.
Yeah.
And that was a 150 million refinance on a hotel portfolio.
Yeah.
So the deal size was massive. It was an asset class we weren't really specialists in, but the client bought into Ed, and we did it with AIG. So it was really into the institution side. So these involvements, that was 10, 11, 12 years ago. Right? So,
but that's how you got into those niche industries, just by those few great deals that people buy into you, and then obviously, like you said, case study, right? That you can do it. So
just momentum. It's they all sound good. It is. They're very, very hard work. I think Ed worked for 6 months on that deal at least.
Blimey.
And it's
That's the other thing people need to understand. Sorry, Andrew, jumping in. Like, that you hear about these £150 million deals, £40 million, all the great ones. Like, they don't just fall on your lap and complete like Doris's 250 grand Santander mortgage, do they? They're tough to get through. You need a good technical knowledge. I'm sure people move over from Resi thinking, I'm gonna make £1 million next year just because everyone's doing these big deals, but that's not the case, is it?
And no is the point, and they take a long time. Funny enough, in our team meeting the other day, a couple of people completed a few cases, and they said we've been working on this since April.
Yeah.
Right, and they weren't that size; they were smaller. But I think when you're looking at the specialist markets, people refer it to now, the development and the commercial market.
Yeah.
A bit of it could be bridging, but bridging shouldn't take 6 or 8 months to raise it. But when you're looking at those sides, they're long deals, and people can get frustrated with them.
And people can just walk away in the middle of it as well, right? So they're not done deals until they're done.
Yeah, then this is a cracker. So we had a deal. This was probably 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and it was a development loan with Oaknor, about 18 million, 20 million pounds, so decent, massive size. And the broker, won't say his name, but he stood up and went, "Yes, it's all completed." And we all had a little cheers in the office. And back in those days, probably a shot or something to celebrate.
Yeah.
And then I went out to get my lunch, and they came back. I said, "What's up with him?" And he said, "The lawyers are sending the money back."
Oh no!
So he spent 6 months on doing this deal. got it to completed, and then the lawyers, there's some final check, can't remember what it was, and the lawyers actually
Sent it back. Oh, and that would absolutely
and it,
destroy you, wouldn't it? Like that is a tough day in the office.
yeah, it was a tough day. So it was a big deal. It was a
Yeah, yeah.
nice commission on it,
Well, the big
and
ones
the
hurt
rent
as
was
well,
like,
don't they? Like because they take so long. Just
yeah,
with time and obviously you know the fees that you're missing out on. That is
yeah,
that's a killer.
yeah. Well, I've always
Have you ever phoned his missus beforehand and gone, "Good news, get your
that's what happened. Like, yeah, what I always tell
I
people is,
wouldn't
I
tell
said,
her
look,
again. I wouldn't. I'd keep it a
yeah,
secret.
I always say it always happens is when there's big deals knocking around. Obviously, it's good. You should be happy about it and talking about your family, friends, whatever. And quite often is, our job is tough, right? So the cash is variable
Yeah.
from the deals. They take time. So you put all this time into it, and your personal cash flow is probably dropping down a bit. And suddenly maybe your I call them the internal credit, which is your partner at home. And you go and so you try and make them calm by saying, look, we've got a deal completing. It's going to bring in a lot of money, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it's probably the worst thing you can do because it gets their hopes up.
Oh, that's already
Uh,
completed in their head. They don't know what you do for a living. They're already
yeah, exactly. And then you lose it in the day, and you go home with your tail between your legs, and you got to tell them that it's not going to work.
suitcases
So
at the door. You've done.
yeah, I would say the job what we do is really really tough on anyone. I think it's I'm biased because I've only ever done it, but
Yeah.
I can see it in one of the toughest businesses out there.
Apart from recruitment, obviously, because your product doesn't wander off in the middle of it. But that's the other tough one.
Exactly. Well, the way the people move around, apparently, you guys get loads of fees all the time.
Yeah. Everyone else's job is easy, isn't it? That's it. It's easy. So we touched on those. Obviously, I'm going to talk to you for hours. I know, and I know I've got to try and speed up, but so it is genuinely interesting story, and I'm sure people will love to hear it as well. But let's talk. Let's go the other end of the successes. You went through that hard time, went through resilience. Talk to me about what's happened to your business recently. I'm sure people will know because it's been in the news, but that's why people will be tuning in. But talk to me about what's gone on with Ark & Co over the last few months.
Yeah, so we were acquired. I'm just looking up on the computer there. We were acquired, I think it was 13th of November, so about two and a half weeks ago.
Yeah.
And by a company called FRP Advisory. Myself and Ed didn't have a plan to sell. We didn't put it on the market. We always, I think when you go into a business, if you don't go on about, I want to create value, you're silly because you go for everything we've spoken about.
Yeah.
If you don't have a value at the end, you're crazy. We've always had an eye on creating value within the brand.
Yeah.
And if you can see through my hairline there, the brand from it, that to us has been really important. And we've worked with FRP for the last couple of years on referrals, and they're very much sit within our culture of people.
Yeah.
So they actually, to them, it's about who they're doing business with, who they're going to get into business with.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
And they've tried
So
and
we
tested
start-
you already as well, right? They know you guys.
Yeah. So there's personality-wise, but then skill set. So they used to send us some cases and stuff. And then in the summer, they said, look, would you consider selling?
Yeah.
So we said, okay, let's show us what it looks like. We agreed that we wouldn't use any external people. The best people that know about the business in my mind are the people that, like us, that set it up and run it.
Yeah.
So I don't think I really need a third-party person telling me where I might be wrong or whatever. But so we dealt direct. We agreed on the structure by the end of August. And September we're into legals. But my side was, I said to them is, look, I don't want this protracted.
Yeah.
If we're going to go into this, I want to have it nailed down in a few months. And whoever sold a company before will know that a few months is quick.
Oh yeah, this was a record time, aren't you? Like this was done and dusted in the shortest thing I've ever had.
Yeah, well, what's important for me is keeping continuity in the business. And if you go into these kind of things, you can take your focus off what your day-to-day is.
Yeah.
So I was quite lucky because I went to America over half term in October and enabled me to focus on this outside of the office.
Mm-hmm.
And I could just focus on getting it done. So we had it all, well, 90 odd % done in legals by the end of October. But then the FCA said that, we
have a
could
look.
take up to January to get the approval, so it just tools down. And then on, I think, I don't know, the 10th of November, FRP phoned me up and said, we've got approval. We want to close this Thursday night. So I went probably 2.5 days with no sleep to kind of finish it off.
Yeah.
And got the deal done, which is exciting. And people, the main point, why did we do it? And it's a growth story.
Yeah.
And I look some people in the eye sometimes, they're like, nah, don't buy into that. But it truly is.
Yeah.
Myself and Ed are both 46. You come to a decision in what you want to do is Ark & Co's done fairly well over the last 15 years. It's how we evolve it.
Yeah.
And, our competitors are expanding nationally, which is great. Do we want to go and do that? Yes. But do we either do it on the back of FRP or do we do it direct ourselves?
Yeah.
FRP have regional offices, which we can piggyback into straight away with a client base. They have different divisions like corporate finance, M&A, restructuring, asset management, real estate asset management.
Yeah.
Which are all pillars that we were focusing on growing Ark & Co into anyway.
Yeah.
So a massive natural synergy there. They also have plans to expand internationally as well, Europe, maybe Middle East. So we had those plans as well, but it's not about so much risk. It's about how much can you really do.
Yeah, it's capacity as well for you, as right. Like you've got a fairly flat structure in the business, haven't you, to do all the things you want to do without having that investment or without having that merger is a big ask, isn't it? Even just mentally, it's hard without actually.
Yeah, it's just firepower.
Yeah.
In this time, and if I look at it and what myself and Ed could have done over the next decade, everything I've just said would probably only achieve 25% of it because it's massive. Where we have a chance to do more of a percentage of that with FRP.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense in many ways, and we're still here. We're still doing exactly the same job. There's no one coming to replace me.
Yeah.
They're letting us get on and do what we do.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with this morning about how can we get more entrepreneurialism into FRP, because we're a small business, they're a big business, and they want to learn how we can cross over and stuff, and it's exciting. So they want to listen. They don't want to dictate. They want to listen.
It's interesting. We had that conversation the other day just about evolution of how we can talk about. You can talk about that'd be great, but it's how your businesses have to evolve at the moment, don't you? Like you say, you're just going to keep doing the same thing forever and get the same result because actually people are nipping at your heels, and you go nowhere if you're not evolving, are you? The business is changing so much.
Hey, that's a lot of issue with people sometimes. They start doing well and they stay the same.
Yeah.
And that's okay for 12, 18 months. Then it will change, and then you may not die, but you will shrink.
Yeah.
So you always got to evolve.
Yeah.
And this wasn't that we were worried about Ark & Co because we just came off our best every year.
Yeah.
From it. But more about
which helps when you're negotiating.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's why we waited.
Yeah. Don't do it on your worst year.
Yeah, exactly. We're not that dumb. But just with regards to evolving and competitors, the market is I wouldn't say it's saturated, but you've got many people in the brokerage and advisory market now. And the debt market is very visible.
Yeah.
So, everyone knows Hampshire Trust, everyone knows Paragon, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So what you're going to look at is how do you differentiate yourself from your competitors? What are your clients going to keep buying into?
Yeah.
Right. So what's your story? So we're now with FRP is where we get our business from as well is a lot of the professional services sector. And now we've got corporate finance. Now we've got M&A. Now we've got restructuring, asset management, and we got a different story to tell.
Yeah.
So we can evolve.
Yeah.
And we can add. And already, some of the wealth management companies we work with has referred into us corporate finance deals, which I've now got a corporate finance partner I could plug into.
Yeah.
So it's already
more for your customers already. So it's still that adding value side of things for the client as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. The clients just want more, and so they should. And you've got to keep on delivering more.
Yeah.
And so what you can keep doing is just you talk to yourself, Marcus, get more bums on seats,
Yeah.
right? And do the same thing. But eventually that will run out of steam.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to keep changing on it. And this was a good pivotal point for us.
Yeah, and do you know, we were talking about this the other day, and I never looked at it the way you looked at it when we were talking, because I said to you, like, you've not the competitor-wise, you've got an amazing brand, you know, people come to you, you've got, you know, the good track, the track record, but like your point the other day was actually, because I was saying one-man bands don't really bother you, but your point is collectively that they do. If you don't evolve, then these guys do bother you, right? Because they've got access to more than they did in the day. It's not so hard to build a network of lenders or people that you know you can do business with.
Well, look, if you're just going to do a development deal at 65 of GDV, there's a handful of people very visible that everyone knows, the Hampshire Trust and of as well. And I'm not keep on picking on them. It's just
And they just bring the office, right? If you need a donor.
and we do a lot of business with them as well.
Yeah.
But the person sat at home can be remunerated, you know, say call it 1%,
Yeah.
the same as our can go, right? And they're at home with no cost or overhead, and they're delivering a Hampshire Trust into the deal.
Yeah.
And there's a 10 million loan, they're getting paid £100,000, which is a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Definitely is with no overhead. Yeah.
For at home on your own. And so it becomes kind of an unfair advantage, competitor almost.
Yeah.
We offer, you know, an office, professional environment, everything around it, right? But if you're not delivering anything else, you're just delivering the senior debt,
Yeah.
you're on the same playing field as the individual players.
The guy sat.
So what are you doing? Yeah, and which is good. But then how do you compete against them?
Yeah.
Race to the bottom on price. So you got to, which they can afford to cut more than we can, right? Because they haven't got these costs.
Yeah.
So then you got to look at what else can you plug in? Some MES, some equity, some advantage. You know, so you got to look at your value add.
Yeah.
Different ways.
This podcast will definitely be called something like the evolution of broking, because it is really important. Like we're talking about how the business evolves, but also your clients are evolving, aren't they? And actually your competitors are evolving into well, there's lots more one-man bands, and it's not, you know, it's not you against another big commercial broker. Everything's constantly changing.
Well, the client's a lot more sophisticated now. So in the last 15 years, broking, which is now called advisory, basically is professional, right? And you know, it's become more accepted.
Yeah.
A lot of people, even if you're a PLC, you might instruct a brokerage to run a procurement for you. Right? So they can go back to their board and say, we run a debt procurement process. This is the best deal, right? So you wanted an SME, a small level, but also a PLC level.
Yeah.
And so people are buying into the brokerage model a lot more, a bit like they do in the US. US, it's always happened. And that's led to the huge expansion of it from it. But you've got to look at the value add to the client. So other services. So if they're a corporate, and they might be doing a sale and lease back, they might be buying their commercial property. So from that, we could do the asset finance, and FRP might be able to do the corporate finance.
Yeah.
Right. So they can keep it in one place. So we're evolving with those where we think the right way to go.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I was thinking of before we spoke, actually. I was thinking of what would people want to us, and it's probably people I've been asking you. But if we look at, so the people that this, obviously commercial brokers and that kind of thing that aren't where you are at the moment, but what do those guys have to think about when they want to get to where you are, when they want to be, even with people being interested in it? Because it is hard to exit brokerages. There's not many there's not hundreds to get sold. What do you think, what do people have to think about when they're growing it to make it more attractive to a buyer?
Well, look, the key things with that is quite common sense, but people don't want to admit it from it. So quite often within the brokerage, you get the self-employed route.
Yeah.
And that's not a problem, but that's not very valuable for many reasons with it. Also, the type of person you get with self-employed, people think that brokers want to be self-employed because it's the right type of person. That's what energizes them. It's what gets them going. Yeah. I don't agree with that. So what it comes down to generally is individuality.
Yeah.
Right. So, and you end up with a bunch of individuals which don't work together as a team in the collective, and eventually it goes the wrong way. So we had that model.
Yeah.
Right? So I know from my own experience. So
again, that was the evolution of the business as well, right? You changed models. You saw something that didn't work for later on, and you changed it.
Yeah, and it's eyes on the prize. At the end of the day, do people want to buy a self-employed business? Someone would argue and say, yeah, they will do, and maybe there might be people out there, but realistically,
much, is it?
you need and not really from it, but it's just if you get the right people and you get the right structure, the right remuneration package. There you are, big words. Pay package, that's it. Make it simple, keep things simple, and you get the right environment and the culture,
Yeah.
and the brand, right? So we invest a lot in the brand. People want to be there, right? And I always invest a lot of time with the team. Make sure they have a good place to work. Make sure they have fun. We spend more time here than we do at home.
Yeah.
So if they're not enjoying it, they don't want to be there. So that's a big point.
Yeah.
And make sure they progress. The hardest thing in this job, is people kind of plateau.
Yeah.
So they learn development finance and they do really well, and but how do they get to the next level? Right? And what they usually see is, or they plateau in residential development. But it could be that the market's moving to PBSA, to care. There's many different sectors.
Yeah.
Right? Then maybe they want to manage a team. Maybe they want to part do deals. Maybe they want to manage some. So you've got to evolve people and get a right structure where they can progress through. You've also got to give them ownership. Well, we actually didn't get to that point because we were creating an LLP, but then we got bought.
Oh, okay.
So we were giving ownership away, if you call it that way.
Yeah.
But not really giving away. They earn
No, they work their way in. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But because we sold anyway, they got paid.
Yeah. Everyone done a great.
It's healthy, right? Even though they didn't have a holding in it.
Yeah, yeah.
They were part of it. And
Can I say this on there? You paid out of your side as well. Is that right? And when I talk about this or not?
Yeah.
You paid them out of your cut, didn't you? Like everyone did well out of it, out of you.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
Look, they are. I think there was a comment someone made and it stuck with me. It wasn't long ago, but I've just spoken about a team, and sometimes people talk about the individuals.
Yeah.
Actually, it's both. Right, a good team or amazing team is made up of amazing individuals.
Yeah.
Right? So it's both. It's not either you're an individual or the team. You need the amazing individuals to create the team.
Yeah.
But they all need to buy in to what it's about. So I'd say it's that culture, and I spend a lot of time with the team. I'm very personal with them. I try not to create like barriers to how they want to behave within the office. I mean, they're hooligans, but I want them to be natural. Because I think if they can be themselves, you'll get the extra 5% out of them.
Yeah.
Right. So if they come in and they like really jokey and laughy outside, and then they come in and they're all formal and static, if that's the right word, you're not trusting yourself.
No,
right?
and that creativeness that makes great advisors as well, isn't it? Just the ability to do it without being bollocks. It makes sense.
Yeah, look, everyone's different, right? So what you got to have within the team is understand that everyone has different nuances, right? It's like a relationship. And, some people, might have something, they might chew an apple at a desk, it annoys them.
No eating at the desk, no, that's one too many. You don't know what they do.
Bread, he hates it. So he gets anyone chewing some peanuts in front of him. But so I haven't answered your question in the direct format, but so it's a combination of many things.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure there's no finite answer, is there? Like that you're attracted to the business because of all of the hundreds of decisions you've made over the years.
Yeah, it's longevity, right? So all of the things I've spoken about, structure, culture, really important, and delivering results. But if you do it for 1 year, 2 years, it doesn't stick that much.
Yeah.
You got to do it to constant. So you got to have that resilience that you constantly, and you will have down years. You got to keep pushing through and be there and create. What people want to know is, you're still going to be there in another 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. That's what they're buying into. They don't buy you and think, oh, well, it explodes next year. Yeah. They want you to be consistent. And
the two things I want to talk about, we're going way over. It's tough. You've cancelled your next appointment. They're just because they're just really interesting as well, because you're at that point that we don't often get to talk to people at this level when you got to the point where a lot of brokers really want to get to. One of the things I wanted to talk about is the brand, and you've obviously spent ages building the brand, and we know it's excellent and it's got a really good weight in them. But you can't be so attached to it that, because you could quite easily go, I don't want to be part of something else because this is my baby. You can't be so attached to it, can you, that you can never leave it as well? Like it's important, but it's not the be all and end all. Yeah, that's my point. Like brand is a bit ego, isn't it? Like everyone, but
That's ego.
yeah, literally in the background. Yeah, no. Oh, that I didn't see it. Yeah, it's,
But look, it's important for me, right? And I know the point you're getting at is that with FRP coming in now, and we will change our brand.
yeah.
Right? So
And people will ask the question, won't they? Like, the brand got you to where you are now as well.
yeah, look, they asked me the question and they consulted with me about it, and my answer was, well, you wouldn't be buying us if you didn't think we were a good brand. So, but I understand any of your decision with it, and if you explain to me what you're trying to do and the reason why, I'll be on your side, because now we're part of the same team,
Yeah.
which is what it's about. And they explained that they want to create an FRP real estate advisory pillar.
Yeah.
And what you can't have when you've got different pillars is different brand names, because it gets confusing.
Yeah. You're outsourcing it again, don't you?
Yeah. So I get the point, and I buy into it, and that's why it's not so much of a problem.
Was it an ego hit though? Was it like, because it is still something you've built and you should be proud of, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'll probably take that off the wall and put it on my bedroom wall.
Yeah. Oh, that. I think it's just, I'm sick of looking at that sign.
Oh, actually, you know what I've done? I've collected every business card I've had from different stages of Ark & Co, different brands. I've actually got a collection of them at home.
Oh, nice.
So I'm sure I collected them through the years. But I don't know. I'll probably get a picture of Ark & Co or something and have it in my office at home or something.
Yeah. The Ark & Co memorabilia room.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be my only trophy, because otherwise I was like third place under 8.
Yeah. Yeah. 50 metre swimming badge next to
Yeah. He's made it without drowning.
it. Which works for both. So,
look,
go on.
the brand's important, but I think I get it. It would be great to see it evolve nationally, but the way we're going with it will be FRP.
Yeah. Interesting, because again, it's one of those things that people will be interested in. The other thing is that I really wanted to touch on, and I know you've made mistakes in the past, and we've talked about it personally, about the things that have worked for the business and haven't, and obviously moving to that employed model. But you have built a machine, and I mean this with the greatest of respect, because there are good businesses that are offshoots of people that have worked for you, right? So you've obviously trained people up, and they've got to that point. And I think, and I talk about this with you and with other people, about that you're at peace with that because you know how your machine works. That you know.
It wasn't initially, because I was a bit younger and naive. And when it happens to you first, you feel a bit burnt from it, because the way I run the business is a very personal approach. And,
yes, you take things personally as well, right?
Yeah. The risk to that is you're going to get too close to it, and I have been down in the dumps, and a lot of people who might see this will probably know those times. But it's not I don't care. I think the way to look at it now, and the way it's very complimentary.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's what I mean by peace. Not that you don't care, but it's not like you're. You've talked about successful businesses that have left you, and you kind of talk about it with. I don't know if pride's the right word, but you know they've learned from you. But it's
Well, look, first of all, the market's massive. Right? We did 690 million of lending last year completions, and that's big for us, the biggest every year. I don't even know how big the market is, but it's a hell of a lot bigger than that. I think we probably didn't even have 1% of the market. Right? So that shows how big it is.
Yeah.
So there's enough to go around for everyone. I think the biggest thing is how people leave and how honourable they are with it.
Yeah.
That's probably what bugs a lot of people. But actually, when the FRP news came through, quite a few of the early texts or emails or phone calls I got were from ex-colleagues.
amazing.
Saying congratulations, and even ones that we didn't leave on the right terms sometimes.
Yeah, it's always good. I mean, it's awkward, isn't it? I mean, I move people for a living. It's not like the most fun thing in the world, where the exit. But you get over them.
I think what they do say, and other people have asked me similar questions with it, but do you case share or do you? I've never been a big believer in that. And I'll always be very strong with this. Is But some people might say, yeah, well, Andrew, we know he's got this skill in there, so we could share, the cases. Well, A is right, and it doesn't quite happen like that. And the whole thing is, even though that we've had great times and they work with an Arc and Co.
Yeah.
They have their own business now. They're strong enough, stand on your own 2 feet. We compete against each other. Let's compete fairly. There's no harm. There's no harm in that, is there? That's quite nice, isn't it? It adds another dimension, because if I know one of my old team members is competing against, I don't want to lose, do I?
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
It revs me up to the next level.
The thing is, though, you're like strict in the way your machine works, in the sense that you might lose some at the top. You're very, very good at training people at the bottom. I don't know if people know this, but you still spend hours and hours with new training, with new advisors, don't you? You still commit quite a lot of time, your own personal time, not just leaving it to your associate directors and your managers, etc. You're still heavily involved in that, aren't you? And I think that's what keeps the machine comfortable, maybe losing a bit off the top, because you can train them at the bottom.
Yeah, look, I think I can help at all levels.
Yeah. Totally.
As people get more senior, they think they don't need my help as much, but that's how it goes.
Yeah.
But, my biggest challenge is being able to add value to them.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's just not about advice how to handle certain situations. But if I don't know the market equally or better than them, I lose their buy-in at all levels. So my challenge is not just about running the business; it's about knowing the market as well. Because when I talk to them about their cases, I want to be able to contribute to that as well and show my value.
Yeah.
And so they buy back and say, actually, Andrew can contribute. He does add value. And if I stop doing that, it's going to be harder to manage from it. So, and that's what it all drives us. It makes part of that team spirit. If we're in a room together, we can all contribute to each other's cases, right? And we all challenge each other.
Do you look at that when you are recruiting? And I will say, like, I love recruiting. I love working with you. It's also not the easiest thing in the world, because you have things that fit and things that don't. But that's perfect for us, right? Because then we know where you sit in the market. But when it comes, do you have to be more like, that's the right word, like lenient with the next generation, because you're starting to see a different generation of people coming through? Is it still you still staunch on, like, this is what we need, this is what we want?
Personality is the big one.
Yeah.
So how they can present themselves. Right? So and I think that's a big thing these days. And maybe I'm a bit too old school, where I wear a suit and shoes every day, and where people can wear smart chinos and whatever they want to wear, but presentable, and wanting to be presentable. I still get a little bit annoyed when people come in on Friday and they're dressed down, if you call it that. And I don't have a problem with smart chinos and a shirt, but if you come in your trainers and your billabongs on, or whatever you do, what happens if your client's around the corner? Well, what happens if someone says, "I've got a client I want you to see now"? Well, you're going to turn up in some flip-flops. So you got to be prepared.
Yeah.
And if you come, it's kind of coming to work, not to mess around. I always think if you're dressed smart for work, you mean you're ready to work.
But we were brought up in that environment where people just aren't now. So it is a little bit of an evolution of how people react, and also maybe their clients aren't dressed like us now as well. That changes a little bit.
We're in Fitzrovia now, and I think most people have got twisted jeans on.
We only got suits left in London, I think.
I'm the only one with a suit and no dog. Everyone's got jeans and a dog.
Yeah, walking around with a typewriter.
I'm always, it's not a control thing or whatever, but my guidance is that, if you dress professionally, you are professionally.
You can't get caught out, can you? That's it. I think it's fine doing it the other way, but you guarantee you're not going to get caught out this way.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. All right, I've taken you well over when I said I would, I could bang on all day, but I appreciate you're very busy. If anyone wants to speak to you about anything we discussed, obviously all your socials have been on our socials, and again, it genuinely been really useful. Like I could carry on talking, and I know we've talked about it privately, so mine. But it is a very interesting story. If anyone wants to have a conversation with you, wants to speak to you, wants to catch up on anything, Arc & Co or FRP, or even just kind of take your advice on anything, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah. Anyway, so email, text, or WhatsApp, or
Yeah. Don't
call
be
me
no
up.
number on here. We're
Details.
online. There's a lot of weirdos. But
Yeah, there is. Well, apparently, I do a lot on LinkedIn. But
yeah.
yeah, like people know in the market is like other brokers
Yeah.
that work for some of my competitors. Sometimes they reach out for me, and I'm always happy to give them advice.
Yeah.
And it's not. And some people might say, "Why do you do that?" And it's because I generally care about the development of the industry and the people within it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean I need 100 people phoning me
Yeah.
tomorrow to
Don't
go.
worry. I'll bet. I'll bet. I'll bet what we got.
I'm more than happy to speak to people just because I love what I do.
Amazing. Brilliant. And thank you very much. You genuinely, I know I said this before, but you've been a great guest. And thank you for everyone watching and listening today. It's been another episode of NRG Insights. But I appreciate your time, Andrew. Thank you again.
Cheers, Marcus.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.